Good morning and welcome back to Sunday Storytime here on Gaming with ADHD, where today we're continuing our read-through of Star Wars Jedi's Honor, a solitaire adventure starring Luke Skywalker. Now, this is episode 8 of Jedi's Honor, and what it is a choose-your-own-adventure style story. If you missed the first video, there's a link down in the description that will take you back to the first episode, and also a link to the playlist so that you can catch up and be with the story where it's at now, because it is up to you, the viewers, to help us determine where to go next. So once this video is over, please make sure that you're commenting down below so that way, once there's enough votes, I'm going to know which part of the story to read next. But before we get started, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I put out a few videos each week covering all sorts of tabletop gaming content, and while I'd love for you to come along for that, I don't want you to miss any future episodes of Jedi Honor. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Now, last week, Luke and his companions were trapped in a storage unit, and they had to decide, is Luke going to try and impersonate an Imperial officer to get to the person that they're trying to rescue, or is R2-D2 going to bypass and hack through the system in order to get more information? Well, based on the votes, Luke is going to impersonate an Imperial officer, so let's see where that goes. See if you can locate the command center, Luke says. By the time Luke finds a uniform that fits, R2 displays a map showing how to reach the command center. It is approximately 450 kilometers away. Unfortunately, so is anything else that sounds remotely helpful. Tol Ado's launch stations were built well away from the cell blocks to deter escape attempts. Okay, prisoners, Luke says, attaching his lightsaber to his belt. We'll just have to find transportation where we can. He hopes the lightsaber won't attract unwanted attention, but he has no intention of leaving it behind. Gideon leads the way into the passageway. An hour later, they hear another repulsor cart approaching. When it comes into view, Luke steps out from behind the prisoners and flags it down. The black streak flashes to a stop. 2 stormtroopers sit in the front. I'm taking this vehicle, Luke says, hoping he sounds more authoritative than he feels. The troopers look at each other, then at him. But sir, we're 300 kilometers from our duty station. That's unimportant. I found these prisoners near the supply bay, and you know what that means. He pauses to let them consider just what that does mean. I'm taking them to command for interrogation. Dismount now. The stormtroopers reluctantly obey, and Luke motions to the prisoners into the back of the cart. R2 stops at the edge of the cart and whistles plaintively. Luke motions at him, then says, "Put the droid in the passenger seat." After they obey, Luke takes one trooper aside. "I also need your blaster," he whispers. The droid is unarmed, but the prisoners don't know that. The stormtrooper sighs, then gives Luke the weapon. "Perhaps we should take them back, sir? They look dangerous." "You must be joking," Luke snaps, climbing into the driver's seat. "I captured these prisoners, and I will take them to command center. Do you understand?" Stormtrooper steps away. "Yes, Colonel." "Good. I'll send someone back for you." As Luke turns the cart around, he overhears one stormtrooper comment, "Those prisoners will tear that quartermaster to pieces." Luke gulps down a snicker as he realizes that this is just like the stunt he and Deke pulled on in Anchorhead, then guns the cart. It even handles like a speeder back home. 4 hours later, Luke slows the repulsor cart to a crawl. They have reached the outskirts of the administrative center. The center vaguely reminds him of the crowded cities of Ord Mantell, except that it is completely enclosed by sanitary white walls. Over an area 75 kilometers in diameter, layer after layer of complex rises a full kilometer off the surface. Each layer is a city in itself, dedicated to some purposeless bureaucratic function. As they move deeper into the complex, the corridor grows crowded with repulsor carts operated by low-ranking Imperial officers. An outbound power walk runs along the left edge of the corridor, and an inbound power walk runs along its right edge. Stormtroopers, civilians, and a few officers scurry along the power walks, occasionally stopping to stare at Luke and his prisoners. Luke takes the first up ramp he sees, then follows it through a complicated series of spirals and turns. Finally, they reach a level dominated by captains and majors. Luke stops the scooter in front of a walk ramp entrance guarded by 2 stormtroopers. "Watch these prisoners," he orders. "I'm going to command for instructions." He unloads R2 and turns up the ramp. The stormtroopers stand to attention, then obediently point their weapons at Sydney and Gideon. The ramp ends in a lobby outside a transwall. On the other side of the transwall, several hundred officers monitor computer terminals, bustle from one superior to another, or argue with their peers. He pauses to sedate the butterflies in his stomach, then marches into the command center. R2 follows, incapable of emotion which makes Luke's knees quake. The guards here also allow them to pass without question. Luke quickly turns towards the back of the room. He bumps into 3 dark uniforms. "Slow down, Colonel," orders a familiar voice. "It can't be that important." The voice belongs to Sebastian Parnell. Luke averts his eyes. "I'm sorry, sir. I'm new here." He steps aside to let the general and his party pass. "Be more careful. I can't have my officers getting trampled. Is that clear?" "Yes, sir." Luke moves forward. "Colonel," snaps Parnell, "have I dismissed you?" "No, sir," Luke answers. He stops moving, but does not look at Parnell. "I never forget a face. Have we run into each other before?" All right, there's our decision point. So, is Luke going to admit to General Parnell that they've met before? Or is he going to say no? That's up to you guys to decide. Put a comment down below. Let me know what you think we should do. And then come back next week, and we'll see where the story takes us. So, thank you so much for watching. Put a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.